It's time for another challenge to test your PHP skills. A useful application of conditional statements is presenting different content to a website's visitors, depending on whether they're administrators, registered members, or just visiting as guests. In the Chapter 303_07 folder of the exercise files is this web page called different.php. At the moment it contains only HTML and a link to a style sheet. The challenge is to add the necessary PHP code to create two different versions of this web page, one for members and the other for non-members. If you examine the HTML, you'll see that the markup uses three classes. The header uses the both class. This indicates that the header should be in both versions of the page. The next section uses the class non-members. This needs to be only in the version for non-members. The next section has the class members, so it should be only in the version for members. And the final section has two divs. The first one is for both, so it should be in both versions. The second one is for members, so it should be in the version for members only. And then finally, the footer uses both, so this should be in both versions. To show you what the two versions of the web page should look like, I've included in the exercise files non_members.html and members.html. So let's take a look at them in a browser. This is the version for members, and the sections for members only have a different background color. So that's what your members page should look like, and this is the one for non-members. Non-members, everything has a white background, so that should be very easy to recognize. Now, although I've created two different files as a guide, what you need to do is to use PHP code to present two different versions of the same file, as though they're being viewed by someone visiting as a guest or someone logged in as a registered member. Let's just go back to that page. So it's different.php. Obviously, I don't expect you to create a login system. Create a variable that indicates whether the visitor is logged in or not, and hard code it into this page, different.php. The real challenge is to add the code that displays the different output, depending on whether the visitor is logged in. The solution is remarkably simple, but it might not be immediately obvious. So here are some pointers that you might find helpful. PHP was designed to be embedded in HTML. This chapter has focused on two main themes: what PHP regards as true and false, and various control structures that determine which code is executed depending on one or more conditions. One final clue: the solution does not involve using echo. This challenge shouldn't take you more than 5 or 10 minutes to complete. Even if you think it's beyond you, just pause for a short while to consider how it might be done. And in the next video, I'll show you my solution.